The rain was unforgiving that night in Seattle. It mirrored the storm brewing inside me. For 20 years, Alaric, a software engineer, had built a life with Giselle. We had a comfortable home overlooking Puget Sound, two wonderful kids, now in college, and a seemingly unbreakable bond. Or so I thought. It started subtly, almost imperceptibly. Giselle, a vibrant and outgoing artist, began spending more time at her studio downtown. Late nights became frequent, attributed to urgent commissions and demanding clients. I didn't suspect anything at first. I trusted her implicitly. Trust, it turns out, is a dangerous thing when misplaced. Then came the phone calls. Whispered conversations late at night, hushed tones when I entered the room. She'd quickly end the calls, claiming it was her mother or a friend from art school. I chalked it up to stress, assuming she was dealing with something she didn't want to burden me with. The change in her was the most unsettling. The warmth I had always known, the easy affection, seemed to fade. Kisses became perfunctory, hugs less frequent. Our intimate moments dwindled to nothing. I tried to talk to her to understand what was happening, but she brushed me off, saying I was imagining things, that I was being paranoid. One Saturday, Giselle said she had a gallery opening to attend downtown. It was supposed to be a big event for a local artist, someone she admired. I offered to go with her, but she insisted I stay home. "You'd be bored, Alaric," she said, her eyes avoiding mine. "It's all art snobs and pretentious chatter. You're better off relaxing at home." That's when the seed of doubt truly took root. It wasn't just the late nights or the phone calls anymore. It was the way she looked at me, the subtle shift in her demeanor. I couldn't shake the feeling that something was terribly wrong. I decided to do something I never thought I would. I followed her. I told myself I was just being cautious, that I was simply worried about her. But deep down, I knew something was amiss. I waited until she left, then got in my car and trailed her downtown. The rain was coming down hard, making visibility poor. I almost lost her a few times, but I managed to keep her in sight. She didn't go to the gallery. Instead, she drove to a small, unassuming apartment building in Belltown, a trendy neighborhood known for its nightlife. She parked, got out of the car, and disappeared inside. I sat there for what felt like an eternity, the rain drumming against the roof of my car. My heart pounded in my chest, a mixture of fear and dread washing over me. I didn't want to believe what I suspected, but I couldn't deny the evidence any longer. After about an hour, I saw her emerge from the building. She was laughing, her hand intertwined with a man I didn't recognize. He was younger, with slick-back hair and a confident swagger. They kissed passionately before she got back in her car and drove away. The world seemed to tilt on its axis. The rain blurred my vision, but I could still see them, etched in my mind like a cruel painting. My wife, the woman I had loved and trusted for 20 years, was having an affair. The drive home was a blur. I parked the car in the garage, went inside, and sat down in the living room, staring blankly at the wall. The pain was overwhelming, a crushing weight on my chest. I felt numb, disoriented, like I was living in a nightmare. Giselle arrived home a few hours later, full of enthusiasm about the gallery opening. She recounted stories about the art, the people she met, the amazing conversations she had. I listened in silence, my heart aching with each word. Finally, I couldn't take it anymore. "Who was he, Giselle?" I asked, my voice trembling. She froze, her eyes widening in surprise. "Who was who?" she stammered. "The man you were with at the apartment building downtown. The one you kissed." She denied it at first vehemently. She accused me of being crazy, of imagining things, but I pressed her, recounting every detail until she finally broke down. "It just happened," she sobbed. "It didn't mean anything." "Mean anything?" I repeated, my voice rising. "You betrayed me, Giselle. You betrayed our marriage, our family." She tried to explain, to justify her actions. She said she felt neglected, that I was always working, that she needed attention. But her words were hollow, empty. I couldn't forgive her, not for this. The next few weeks were a living hell. We fought constantly, screaming and yelling, tears and accusations flying. The kids came home from college, sensing the tension, and tried to mediate, but it was no use. The damage was done. I moved out of the house and into a small apartment downtown. The silence was deafening, the solitude unbearable. I spent my days at work, trying to focus on my job, but my mind was always elsewhere, replaying the events of that fateful night. I hired a private investigator to gather more information about Giselle's affair. I needed to know everything, even if it hurt. The investigator discovered that the man's name was Finn, a struggling artist who worked at the same gallery Giselle frequented. They had been seeing each other for months. The anger inside me grew, festering like a wound. I wanted revenge to make them pay for what they had done to me. But I knew that revenge wouldn't bring me happiness, wouldn't undo the pain. Instead, I decided to focus on myself, on healing and moving on. I started therapy, joined a support group for people who had been betrayed, and reconnected with old friends. It was a long and difficult process, but slowly, gradually, I began to feel like myself again. One day, I received a call from Giselle. She said she wanted to talk, to apologize. I agreed to meet her at a coffee shop near our old house. She looked and worn, her eyes filled with regret. She told me that Finn had left her, that he had used her for her money and connections. She said she realized what a terrible mistake she had made, that she missed me and the life we had built together. I listened patiently, but my heart remained unmoved. I couldn't forgive her, couldn't forget what she had done. The trust was gone, shattered beyond repair. "I'm sorry, Giselle," I said finally. "But it's over. I can't be with you anymore," she nodded, tears streaming down her face. "I understand," she said softly. "I deserve this." We finalized the divorce a few months later. It was a painful process, but necessary. I sold the house and moved to a smaller place near the water. I started painting again, something I had neglected for years. It was therapeutic, a way to express my emotions and find solace. One evening, I was at an art gallery, showcasing some of my work. A woman approached me, admiring my paintings. Her name was Isolde, and she was a kind and intelligent woman with a passion for art. We started talking, and I found myself drawn to her warmth and sincerity. We went out for coffee, then dinner, and soon we were spending every weekend together. Isolde was different from Giselle. She was honest, loyal, and supportive. She understood my pain and helped me heal. With her, I felt safe, loved, and appreciated. We got married a year later in a small ceremony on the beach. It was a beautiful day, filled with love and laughter. I looked at Isolde standing beside me and knew that I had finally found happiness again. Giselle, on the other hand, did not fare so well. After Finn left her, she spiraled into depression and alcoholism. She lost her studio, her friends, and eventually her children. They couldn't forgive her for what she had done to me. I heard through mutual acquaintances that she was living in a small apartment downtown, struggling to make ends meet. She had become a cautionary tale, a reminder of the consequences of betrayal. One day I saw her on the street. She was disheveled and thin, her eyes hollow and lifeless. She didn't see me, and I didn't approach her. I simply watched her walk away, feeling a mixture of pity and sadness. I had moved on, found happiness again, but she was still trapped in the past, haunted by her mistakes. It was a stark reminder that actions have consequences, and that betrayal can destroy not only the betrayed but also the betrayer. I learned a lot from that experience. I learned that trust is precious and easily broken. I learned that forgiveness is possible but not always necessary. And I learned that happiness can be found again, even after the deepest pain. My life with Isolde is filled with love, laughter, and mutual respect. We have built a strong and lasting bond based on honesty and trust. I am grateful for her every day, for her unwavering support and unconditional love. Sometimes I think about Giselle and wonder what could have been. But I know that I made the right decision, that I deserved better. And I am finally at peace with the past, ready to embrace the future with open arms. Years passed. My children eventually reconnected with Giselle, offering her a measure of forgiveness and support, though the relationship remained strained. I remained detached, prioritizing the well-being of my own family. Isolde and I continued to build our life together, traveling, pursuing our passions, and cherishing every moment. The shadow of Giselle's betrayal gradually faded, replaced by the warmth and light of a love built on trust and mutual respect. I never forgot the pain, but it no longer defined me. It had become a part of my story, a chapter I had survived and overcome, leading me to a place of greater strength and resilience. The rain still falls in Seattle, but it no longer carries the sting of betrayal. It is simply rain, a part of the natural world, washing away the old and making way for the new. I am Alaric, and this is my story of heartbreak, betrayal, and ultimately redemption. One cool autumn evening, years after the divorce, I received an unexpected call. It was Finn. He sounded ragged, defeated. He explained that after leaving Giselle, his life had spiraled out of control. His art career never took off. He battled addiction, and he was now working a dead-end job, barely scraping by. He confessed that he regretted his affair with Giselle, admitting that he had been selfish and opportunistic. He had heard about my successful life with Isolde and felt compelled to reach out, not for forgiveness, but simply to unburden himself. I listened without interruption, a strange sense of detachment washing over me. The man on the other end of the line was a stranger, a broken shadow of the arrogant artist I had once despised. I offered no words of comfort or condemnation, simply acknowledging his confession. When he finished, I said a simple goodbye and ended the call. The encounter left me strangely unmoved. The anger and resentment I had once harbored had long since dissipated, replaced by a quiet indifference. Finn's downfall was a consequence of his own choices, a karmic echo of the pain he had inflicted. His call served as a final, definitive closure, a confirmation that I had indeed moved on, leaving the past behind. Isolde, sensing my unease, held me close that night. We spoke of forgiveness, of the healing power of time, and of the importance of cherishing the present moment. Her love was a constant source of strength, a reminder that even in the face of betrayal, love and happiness could prevail. I am Alaric, and my story is a testament to the resilience of the human spirit, a journey from heartbreak to healing, from betrayal to enduring love. Years turned into decades. My children thrived, building families of their own. Isolde and I watched them grow, sharing in their joys and supporting them through their challenges. We traveled the world, exploring new cultures and creating lasting memories. My art gained recognition, my paintings displayed in galleries and private collections. Life was good, full of love, laughter, and purpose. Giselle remained a distant figure, a faded photograph in the album of my past. I occasionally heard snippets of information about her through mutual acquaintances, a brief stay in rehab, a series of failed relationships, a life marked by regret and loneliness. I felt no satisfaction in her misfortunes, only a quiet sense of sadness. Her choices had led her down a difficult path, and I could only hope that she would eventually find peace. One spring morning, I received a letter. It was postmarked from a small town in Oregon. The handwriting was frail and shaky, but I recognized it instantly. It was from Giselle. My heart skipped a beat as I carefully opened the envelope. Inside was a single sheet of paper filled with her words. She wrote of her failing health, her regrets, and her enduring love for our children. She apologized for the pain she had caused me, acknowledging that her actions had been selfish and destructive. She asked for nothing in return, only that I know she had never stopped thinking about me and our family. As I read her words, tears welled up in my eyes. The anger and resentment that had once consumed me had long since faded, replaced by a profound sense of empathy. I realized that she, too, had been a victim of her own choices, trapped in a cycle of regret and remorse. I folded the letter and placed it in a safe place, a reminder of the complexities of human relationships and the enduring power of forgiveness. That evening, I sat with Isolde on the porch, watching the sunset over the Puget Sound. I shared Giselle's letter with her, and we spoke of life, death, and the importance of cherishing every moment. Isolde held my hand, her eyes filled with understanding and compassion. I knew that I was blessed to have her in my life, a true partner and soulmate. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a golden glow across the sky, I felt a sense of peace wash over me. I had come full circle, from heartbreak to healing, from betrayal to enduring love. I am Alaric, and this is my story, a testament to the resilience of the human spirit and the transformative power of forgiveness. A few weeks after receiving Giselle's letter, I learned of her passing. It was a quiet affair, attended only by our children and a few close friends. I did not attend the funeral, feeling that it was best to honor her memory from a distance. I lit a candle in her honor and said a silent prayer for her soul. I hoped that she had finally found peace. Life continued as it always does. Isolde and I grew older, our love deepening with each passing year. We remained active in the art community, supporting young artists and sharing our passion with the world. My children thrived, building successful careers and raising families of their own. I became a grandfather, cherishing the moments spent with my grandchildren, sharing stories of my life and imparting lessons learned. The pain of Giselle's betrayal faded into the background, a distant memory that no longer defined me. It had become a part of my story, a chapter I had survived and overcome, leading me to a place of greater strength and resilience. I am Alaric, and this is my story of heartbreak, betrayal, and ultimately, redemption. It is a story of forgiveness, healing, and the enduring power of love.